Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about how I was bullied at school. I was inspired by Mike's video. I'm sure a lot of you know Mike by now. Um, and yeah, I think it was such an amazing video and a very vulnerable and open video. So yeah, thank you for sharing that, Mike, and I'm so sorry you had to go through that. And I think when you mentioned the bullying, it made me want to talk about that because I've sort of been putting off talking about. Not a good time to drink in the middle of a sentence. Talking about how I got bullied. I might have mentioned it a bit, but haven't really gone into it. So I'm gonna kind of talk through it, and I hope that. Well, I don't hope, but I imagine that some of you can relate to this, and it might be quite. I don't know. I don't know how it will be received in terms of all people, because we all have different experiences with being bullied, like whoever's been bullied. And yeah, so I don't know how much use it is, but also I think it would just be good for myself as well to talk about it. And we'll go from there and we can chat in the comments and stuff. But yeah, so at school, I won't go into details, or I don't want to go into details because there's going to be some more personal things, but I would say I was bullied from maybe like the age of 14 to 18, probably about 4 years. And for various different things, I think the one that affected me the most, and again I won't like go into it the details too much, but also I think because I'm quite aware that people that went to my school could watch this, but who cares? Yeah, I remember that basically what would happen is there were about 70 of us in the year. I think it was not many people at all. And probably almost all of them, most of them, would shout my name in like a high pitched voice. And again, I won't go into details too much, but they basically just shout my name. And it sounds trivial, it sounds silly, but I remember there was this one incident when I was in my English class and I went on to do English at uni. Like English was something that I loved to do, and I remember in my GCSE English class, my teacher, she was really lovely, and yeah, I just really liked her, and I thought she was a great teacher, and she was able to like kind of get through to us as well. And I remember just being sat in class, and I think she got us to write a little segment of, I don't really remember, just like something a bit creative, and it might have been like analysing a text or something, and me like enjoying my writing, I wrote a little text, and then my teacher came around and read it and thought, oh, like this is really good, which was really nice. And then she was like, oh, do you want to read it out? And I was like, okay. I read out the text, and everyone just like shouted, but in like a really high pitched voice, and we're like, well done, but like again, high pitched voice. And I just felt so humiliated, and I can still remember it pretty vividly. More like the feeling of humiliation, the feeling of just wanting to like basically run out and escape, but also shrivel up into like just protecting myself. And so it again, like there were quite a few things that I got bullied about over the years, but this almost like kind of that I don't think people realise how much it affected me. There were reasons why it affected me more. Again, won't go into that, but I think just the humiliation aspect of everyone shouting my name in this high pitched voice, and it would happen so consistently. It would happen most lessons, I don't want to exaggerate, but it would happen in a lot of lessons that I was in where people would just shout my name, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't leave class. I just felt so, I don't know. Again, like I said the word yesterday, despair, but I felt despair in this context as well. So I was like, what do? I can't not go to lessons. It almost just sort of became um, my reality, and the reality was I'd wake up, I'd go to school, I'd have a lot of my own issues aside from that, and I think some of my own issues before I got bullied kind of led to that because I was very vulnerable, and um, I didn't feel like I could stand up for myself. And although I felt like I had quite a lot of good friends, they would still do this. And again, I don't think, well, I know that my friends didn't realise that this actually really affected me. And it, yeah, made me, like, it really upset me. And I was struggling, as I say, struggling anyway. And I'd go to school, just feel incredibly anxious because I knew what was going to happen. I knew that I'd come in and this would happen, and this would be every single day for, I think the shouting my name and the kind of that aspect was about a year, I think, maybe longer, I don't know. But looking back on it, that, I mean, I knew it at the time anyway, but looking back on it, that was just, it was awful. And I know, again, I don't feel like, I shouldn't have to say this, but I know that people had it a lot worse than me, like bullying wise, or like just generally. I was very lucky in many ways. But I also want to validate the fact that it was, yeah, it was a really tough time. And again, I think this was like the worst bullying that I experienced, like this type of bullying, where, yeah, I just come in and this would happen. And I think it hurt a lot because my friends would do it. And I was a bit like, how can you not see that this is making me sort of, I was, so in primary school, so when I was, or junior school, whatever you call it, in primary school, um, I was a very happy, sort of like pretty confident person. I went to secondary school, I think. So I initially went to a grammar school, all boys. I only went for about 2 months. I got on really well with the lads. I knew quite a lot of them anyway, but I remember we went on a school trip within the first few weeks of starting, and I went from this little primary school of a couple of hundred people to this big grammar school of um, like 1,000 people. And I know this is the same as a lot of people, but for me it was like, this is a lot. This is wow. And also I I was someone that had, like, I'd been homesick in the last year of primary school going on a school trip, and that was like pretty heavy. I struggled a lot there, being away from my family. So I think that was a part. And then going to this grammar school, we went on a school trip. I think we might have gone on two actually, but I can only remember one. We went on a school trip. I remember feeling so scared and so homesick and just crying on the school trip in primary school, and just, yeah, just really scared. And I think that's kind of how I felt at the grammar school too. I felt scared, and I felt like there was academic pressure because it was a good school, and I think I probably felt a bit out of place. Again, not really acknowledging that, like, I was alright at school, and there was a reason I was there. But for me, it was like, well, everyone's so much smarter than me. um, I don't really know if that was the case. I think I actually did quite well. But yeah, it got too much for me. And this is like quite a personal story, but I just remember feeling so anxious. I think the academic pressure, actually, thinking about, yeah, that was the thing, because the social side, that was good. I actually felt very comfortable. Um, it was quite intense in terms of like the lads and the rugby and just, you know, just, yeah, quite an intense social side. But yeah, I remember getting on the bus, and the bus we would get a bus. Um, I get a bus with a lot of my mates, and the girls' school would also get this bus. And again, I knew a lot of people there too, and we all just got on well. But I remember sitting by my mate, and he went to my school, and I felt so anxious. I think I had like a history exam or something, but I put so much pressure on myself to do well and to perform at this school that I was sick, and I was sick on the bus. Oh, thinking about it, it's a horrible, horrible thing. And then I remember we got to school. I stepped off the bus and I had to get. I got back on the bus. I don't think I had to. I probably could have called my mum and that was that. But I got. I think I felt like, oh, I need to be in school. I need to do this. Silly because my mum would have absolutely come and got me and would have been like, yeah, don't go to school. But me being me, went to school and um, I went to reception and yeah, this is another memory. Yeah, I went to reception and I asked them. I think I said, oh, I've just been sick, and they're like, okay, can your parent get you? Otherwise, you'll have to kind of stay till the end of the day. And I think I don't know whether I asked my mum. I feel like I probably didn't, or maybe she had. I don't know. I don't think I would because I know she would have come and got me. But I think I actually was just like, no, I'm gonna get on with this. Like, I need to go. I need to carry on with the day. And I remember this person. I don't know who it was. Someone at the school, probably a couple of years above or whatever, saying, "Oh, it smells of sick." Well, it was me, and I just felt so embarrassed. I think, yeah, it's just humiliating. And that was my last day at that school, which is crazy to think about. But that was like, I would you say the nail in the coffin, or like that was the climax of okay, I'm out, I can't do this. And then I joined the school, um, where my brother was at, and he's a little bit older, and where like my best mate went, and another really good mate went, and they're brothers, so I knew a few people anyway. And then over time. I mean, I was already struggling from sort of the experiences at the grammar school and the anxiety and just yeah that step up from primary to secondary in the grammar was a lot. And then lots of things went on at this new school. Um, but yeah, and I really struggled and I suffered a lot with anxiety and depression and you know what I'm saying. Anyway, like skip forward a few years, and that's kind of when the bullying began. And yeah, I I think yeah I also had quite a few friends that got bullied a lot, and I yeah I just think it's awful, and I saw my friends also going through this, and it's just I think it's also I don't think that the people that were doing it were bad people. The same way that I would make fun of some of my friends, but I don't think you realise the impact it can have. And I realised myself how I contributed towards my friends. I wouldn't say I bullied my friends, but I can see how the sort of the joking it probably was seen as bullying, like in terms of how all of us would say would kind of take the mick out of other people. But yeah, I don't see myself as a bully at all. I haven't even thought this at all before, and it's not that. It's more I think this group mentality of um even me who was experiencing bullying. I think I wasn't by no means perfect, and I'd take the mick out of my friends, but I wasn't bullying them. Don't try and justify it to myself. Don't know why I brought that up as if I bullied them, but no, I didn't. And I've spoken about this with one of my friends who got bullied, and I said I apologise like, I'm really sorry um for what I did as well, because although we were really close and we are really close, I still acknowledge that I fell into that kind of group mindset of let's take the mick out of this person. And again, yeah, I wouldn't describe myself as being a bully at all, but I still, if I had more of a sense of independence in, what's the word, identity, and my own voice, I wouldn't have done that. And I think there's no excuse at all, but um I know that I also could have been a better friend to a couple of my friends that also experienced bullying, and I could have stood up for them more and said no, and I think I did sometimes, but I could have done more to stop them also going through something similar to me. And I regret that, and I regret not being a better friend there, because I knew how it felt. And I think, again, the reason why I don't resent any of my friends or anyone that bullied me, because I can see how easy it is to kind of become part of this group and become part of, yeah, that group voice of, if I don't go along with this, which I think even I went along, as I was saying, even I went along with the group taking the mick out of certain people, and I can see that happened to a lot of my friends. And yeah, I think, yeah, don't get me wrong, there would have been a few people that were quite malicious, but I also know that the same way that I wasn't malicious at all, my friends weren't malicious towards me. I think it was just this kind of jokey, not understanding how that person's going to feel. And then you grow up and you realise, oh wow, that's not okay. That is not okay at all. And yeah, I guess also developing a bit of that identity, and realising my own self-worth, and respecting myself. But in that position that I was in, there was no, I felt like there was no escape, and there was no sort of, oh well, I can just tell everyone to stop. I can just, like, I wasn't someone to kind of react. um, in fact, I remember I would laugh, and I remember my best mate saying, "Oh, but you used to laugh." Yeah, I maybe, and in the same way that I laugh now talking about these things, and talking about sensitive topics, I laugh because it's sort of like that defense mechanism. And as they say, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. I'm not gonna cry, don't worry. Not like be fine if I did. And I sometimes wish that I did. Sorry for slurping, because I really struggle with crying, and I don't know if I've spoken about this before, but there have been a couple of uni therapy sessions where I've spoken about really personal topics, and I felt this, like, this brewing up of, like, this weight that I'm like, as if I'm gonna cry, and I just wouldn't, because I don't know. Yeah, just got this block. I think there are reasons why, but yeah. Anyway, I'm going off topic. Yeah, I don't know how I managed to twist that to, like, me getting bullied to then questioning whether I was bullying my friends. I wasn't bullying my friends. I guess I was contributing, so I got to take ownership and accountability, in the sense of, the same way my friends might not have thought they were bullying me, if I'm also contributing towards people getting the mick taken out of them. And maybe I was. Maybe I think we all were. So yeah, I've got to like come to terms with I've come to terms with my role as well, in terms of, like, absolutely, I saw myself as, like, a pretty good friend to those friends. But yeah, also I've got to take responsibility, and I could have done better there as well, and not sort of joined that. As much as it might have been a joke, it doesn't matter. I should have been able to see that affected them more too. Yeah. School's tough. I hated school. I hated that new school that I ended up staying at throughout school and into sixth form. I just stayed. Yeah. Obviously, I've got good memories at school, but on the whole, just an awful experience. And yeah, that's sort of me. Again, I don't know how I managed to circle around. Maybe I shouldn't have spoken about like questioning whether I was a bully myself, but it's good to be open about these things and be vulnerable and acknowledge your own position as a friend at school and not shy away from the fact that you could have done better too. You being me, I could have done better too, and I realise that when I think about how people treated me, I could have treated people better. Even just like the kind of jokes that I would make. Like I should have thought more about how that would have affected people and realised that I'm doing this to try and fit in, but at what cost? At the cost of my friends not being okay. So yeah. Thank you for watching, everyone. And yeah, a bit of not a random one, because it is something that I thought about talking about like a little bit, but I'm really glad that I did. And again, thank you, Mike, and I'm so sorry you had to go through what you went through. And yeah, look after yourselves, everyone. Take care, and maybe I'll be back to more uplifting videos, but I thought it's good to talk about this too. The highs and lows of life and the ebbs and flows. But yeah, take care, everyone. Bye.